Okay, if I click go live, what happens then?
Image. Welcome to link. Learn more. Image. Welcome to image. Level 2. 2 items. Live chat mode selection. Collapse. Edit. And stream. Share. Mute. Topic. Bullet. Mute. Toggle button.
Hi. Sorry, guys. Let's just.
Bullet. Mute. Toggle button. Bullet. Mute. Toggle. Share button. Edit.
Okay.
Application. Notification.
I don't even know if anybody's gonna come on because there wasn't a 30-minute notification. I scheduled it for like I feel like I can easily schedule premieres, but I can't schedule a stream.
Safari previous. Safari. 150 subscribers. 7 years on YouTube and 2022 recap. Give up played on Flute by Riley Main.
No, get over
Heading
there.
level 1. And dislike this share button. Cancel and form list button. Copy button.
Copy
HTTPS.
that.
Application. Notification from Chrome previous. Safari Coconut app. Discord.
Discord.
Number bot. Your invite link will never expire.
Okay.
Add an image to your invite link. Learn more. Add an image to your edit invite. Heading level 2. Invite button.
Okay.
Learn more. Message number bot. Out of number bot. Link image. End of list. End of mute. Out of number list. Link image. Link image. Spamming and memes. Text channel. List channel 3. YouTube community school server channel. List channels. Link image. Spamming and memes. List channels.
Why can't I see just that? Okay. What the heck?
Reload.
Reload that.
Discord. Red content. Discord is not with mess. Out of number bot command. Read table. No selection. End of one YouTube community. One mention. New bot wrist cell. YouTube type job YouTube out of table. End of YouTube heading chat list chat of events and link image unread. Welcome to Dusk Creek link image announcements announcement channel 3 of 3 message number announcements live period now.
Oh wait. I just
Period.
realized
Join.
I forgot to copy the.
Application choose
Oh
a
no,
menu.
wait, I already
Closing.
did copy
Application.
the link.
Message number announcements. List box pop up edit text. Live now. Come join https://youtube/mvuzark3. Selection replaced. Send, publish. Heading level 3. Publish. Select dialog. Confirm. Cancel. Confirm. Cancel. Confirm. This message will be set. Confirm. Selected button. Group. Cancel. Number announcements. Vertical line. You
Publish this.
move all embeds. Article. HTTP. Live. Edit. Your horizontal and more. Select. Edit button. Add message. End of article. Play. Image. Scandinavian choir concert. Edit. And your heading. Live now. Come join. https://youtube/mvuzark3. Article. Remove YouTube. Riley else. 150 subscribers. 7 years on YouTube and 2022 recap. Application. Notification center. Application. Discord current. Chrome. Edit. Button. And stream. Button. Group. Edit. Edit image. Edit image. Welcome to link. Learn more. Riley else. Say something. Edit. Add reaction. Button. Group. Engage with your audience. Button. Group.
Let me just start. I don't really want to do a poll. I feel like I could just do this by doing a bunch of polls, maybe.
Applicate. Notification center. Discord. Safari. Safari. One. HTTPS. Share button
Get
main.
out of there.
Heading level 2. Out of frame. Main. Main. Heading level 1. Visited. 150 subs. End of. This share button. And 100 main. Make. Mute. 1 minute. Play keyboard. Next. Mute. 100. Skip ahead to this broadcast button. Mute. 100. Skip ahead to this broadcast button. Mute. 100. Skip ahead to this one. Pause keyboard. Pause.
No, 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 no. I don't think anyone's gonna show up. But there is a lot, or I do have maybe a lot or a little bit to talk about for this New Year's Eve stream. And the thing is, I was thinking of doing a stream yesterday, but I just didn't have the mood for it. And I guess me not having the mood for anything, that's kind of part of what was going on in 2022, and that's also kind of why I don't have much of a 2022 recap, even though the stream title says so. I'm just gonna check if the other chat features work with this account.
Play keyboard. Frame. Hide chat. Toggle button. Frame 0. Moderator. Link. Learn more. Moderate. Say something. Say something. Zero. Add reaction. Zero. Send dimmed button. Send dimmed button. Zero. Say something. Text. Say something. Say something. Edit text.
Okay, so I don't have the Q&A features for this account then. For the other account then, it's just for my channel. I mean, okay.
Application.
Let me just
Notification from Chrome previous. Chrome. Add reaction button. Say something. Riley Elster North. Link. Learn. Welcome to live chat. Link. Say something. Say something. Say something. Add reaction button. Group. Engage with your audience button. Group. Start a Q&A. Answer viewer questions. Live. Menu. 3 items. Group. 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 Menu 3 I. Engage with your start a Q. Engage with your audience. 1 of 3. Start a Q&A. Answer viewer questions. Live. Menu item. Group 2 of 3. Say something. Edit text.
Okay, so I'm gonna
Speech
post a
muted.
question here. What content would you like for 2023?
Speech unmuted. Say something. Edit text. What content would you like for 2023? Start Q&A button. Group.
Start it.
Object replacement character. Selected. End of Riley. End Q&A button. Group. End Q&A. What content would you like for 2000? Object replacement. End of Q&A. What content would you like? Middle dot. Q and the image. Q&A. What content would you like? Heading level 2. 2 items. Live chat mode. Select image. Q. Middle dot. What content would you like for 2023? End of Q&A. What content would you like for 2023? Group. What content would you, end of Q&A. What content would you like for 2000? Middle dot. Q and image. Q. Heading level. Edit. End stream. Share button. Group. Mute toggle button. Share. Edit. Heading level 2. 2 items. Live chat mode. Select Q&A. What content would you like for 2023? Group. Image. Middle dot. What content would you like for 2023? End of Q&A. What content would you like for 2023? Group.
Let me just see if I can.
Application. Notification center.
So if I post that, then what happens here?
Safari. 150. Q&A. Heading level 2. 2 items. Live chat mode selection. Collapse button. More options button. Heading level 2. 2 items. Live. Application. Note. Chrome. Safari current. Heading level. Q&A. What? Heading level 2. 2. Chat actions button. Welcome to live chat. Chat Q&A. What content would you like for 2023? Chat. Link. Learn more. The toy collector of Seville. Do you like baby toys?
Not really. I mean, it depends on what kind of toys. If you're talking about like if you're talking about like electronic toys like those lullaby things or whatever that you hang on like a baby's crib or whatever, maybe. But the thing is, I find it very difficult to be in a toy community because I'm only really interested in foreign language toys, and so if I get to have like a European vacation next year or something, um, I would love to buy one of those toys like in my target language to see like what I can learn from them, what they sound like, and those kinds of things. But another reason is I have a younger cousin. I have a very young cousin and 3 nieces and nephews, and they are all under the age of 5. my niece I have 2 nephews and 1 niece. They're not biologically my nephews and niece, but we're good relationships with a lot of them, so that's why I consider them my nephews and my niece. My niece my only niece, she's 4, and then her mom had another baby, like, earlier in September, who's now 3 months. And then I have a nephew from my cousin, one of my cousins, she had a baby who is now a toddler, he's 15 months. Or no, he's, 15 or 16 months, he's 16 months, I think. So I have, like, very young nieces and nephews, and I don't when I buy baby toys, I don't buy them for my purpose. I don't want to because I'm not or at least I try not to be that greedy of a person. I buy them for my nieces and my nephews. I bought my niece this ABC or this music player book. Um, one of those music player things that I used to play with when I was a kid. I bought her one of those. And I bought it not for my own benefit. I bought it to give to my niece. And right now, even though I don't have, children or I don't have any younger siblings, my brother is also single. He doesn't have anything. I I put my cousin I also have a cousin who's 4, well, she's gonna be 5 in January, but, my cousin and my nephews and my niece are kinda my priority. Yes, I do collect toys, like, I do collect games, but, like, Bop It and things like that, those are meant for older children, and usually the games that I have, they're meant for kids 6 and up, and my nephews and my niece are under the age of 5. So I buy baby toys from here for that purpose, but not for my own benefit. It's kinda it for me, it's kinda hard to get anything for my own benefit these days because I do put them first. I mean, if that's what you're supposed to do as an aunt, then yeah.
Link. The toy collector of Seville. Do you like baby toys? Chat. The toy collector of Seville. Here are the kinds of toys that I really like. The toy collector of Seville. Here are the kinds of toys that I really like. Chat. Rare Van Riley. Modern. Say something. Say something. Edit text.
Um, I'm just gonna
Add
see.
0/2. Send. Say modern. Rare Van. Chat action. The toy collector of Seville. Here are the kinds of toys that I really like. Chat action. Rare mod. Say something. Edit.
So, looks like the only person that can set up a Q&A is my channel specifically, which is kind of interesting. By the way, so, what I was gonna get to for this actual stream is the fact that I have not been posting at all, almost at all, for this year. And actually, I'm doing a stream here, and then after that, I'm doing another stream on my other channel. Um, hopefully in a few hours. Um, I do want to address the fact that I don't have much of a recap for this year because A, not much really happened, and B, or not much interesting really happened. I mean, a few interesting things happened, but not much other than that. Um, and the second reason is I I've realized I really haven't been posting much this year, if at all. I may have posted maybe like 3 or 4 things, but that's like the least productive I have ever been on YouTube compared like ever since the whole Kappa thing started back in like 2020. It's like probably the least productive I've ever been on my channel. I mean, like things were bad in 2020, but I did post a lot, and a lot of the content that I did post was pretty cringeworthy, so whatever. But like I did post. It kind of went down for 2021. I didn't really I mean, I posted maybe a bit for 2021, but then 2022 but then this year came around and all of a sudden it's like I don't want to post crap. And I feel like a lot of that YouTube productivity that I used to have for the past 7 years has pretty much disappeared, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, from September to December, I was busy with uni. I did some few basic courses, in uni to see what university is like. That's what to see what, university is like and to see what college is all about. That's kinda what that was for. And so that didn't give me a lot of time to post at all because I've been spending days doing homework and watching lectures, going to choir practices and all that. And then on top of that, um, my mental health definitely played a role. It is very hard. I find that I don't often talk very publicly about my mental health because it doesn't have anything to do with the stigma. It just has a lot to do with how YouTube flags things, and also because I don't like to put my personal problems on top of other people's problems. It's not I don't believe that's a healthy way to live. It can happen, like, every once in a while, but if it's all the time I'm talking about mental health, then no one's gonna watch my channel. Um, so another reason why I but I will mention it for this stream because it definitely did play a role on my productivity on YouTube, definitely, for sure. Um, Honestly, when you have a mental health condition, it's very hard to be productive in general. Very, very difficult. Because you don't feel like you have the strength to do it. And so when when something when something like that kind of happens, it's very I mean, I don't wanna say it's beyond your control because it's not. If you get the right help and the right support from family or from therapists or whatever, you can get it under control, and I'm definitely trying, but, there's still going to be times where even if you have a long remission there's still gonna be times where you don't feel like doing anything. You don't feel like doing the things that you wanna be doing, and you don't feel like doing the things that you should be doing, and And that's kind of the reason why I always tell people, if you have a mental health condition, you need to take care of that first because the last thing you want is for internet and the chaos of social media where it be Discord or YouTube or Snapchat or Instagram or whatever you're using. Anything like that, there are so many ways internet platforms like that can permanently, not permanently, but definitely cause more harm than good mentally. And that is that's not a good thing to be dealing with. Um, and so, I always like to tell people, if you have a mental health condition or you're grieving about something or you're hurting because of someone or whatever, take a break. You need that break. You need that break to focus on yourself, and you need that break to take care of yourself. You need that break to make sure that you're having a healthy life where you're not being affected by anything else. And I feel like nowadays it's very easy to get into mental havoc because of all the internet things that happen. It's just so we live in a world where everything is just so crazy, and any kind of activity on social media or whatever, it has a long lasting impact on mental health, definitely for everyone who's on social media. And that's why for me, even though my mental health challenges don't necessarily stem from social media primarily, it's still very hard to be productive on YouTube and get content out when I can't be productive in life, where I find it hard to be productive in general. And that's a very important thing that I feel like I have to mention because because the society that we live in, it pushes us to grow up quick. And that's not how we should be living life at all. We have to live life in a healthy, balanced way. So, I think a lot of that unproductivity that I had from YouTube is definitely being busy with things, but also being busy with um also being busy with but then also being really caught into this tangle of negative thoughts and everything else. Um and I've taken breaks from Discord to recover and to keep myself mentally healthy, to keep myself physically healthy, and I encourage everyone to do that. If you have a mental health condition or you're having a day where you just can't take things anymore, you need that break from the internet, whether it's Discord or whatever. Like you have to allow yourself to take that break from social media every once in a while. You have to. Because if you're not, it's just going to get to you and you're not it's just going to get to you and it's going to alter you in a way that is unhealthy. And I don't want any any of my viewers, I don't want any of you guys to go through, that kind of twisted nature where you're pushed to do things all the time when you're on the internet. We already have very complicated lives. Our lives are not like to live a life, it's not a simple thing. It's a very complicated thing that we have to, deal with for everyone. And you have to allow yourself to face those challenges and face the pain of if you have disabilities or whatever, allow yourself to grieve sometimes or things like that, but not necessarily to let the pain paralyze you. You have to have that moment where you need to really think about you need to really take that break, take some time to yourself and reflect on the life choices you're making and those kinds of things.
Say something. Edit. Chat back. The toy collector of Seville. Those are the toys that I really like. Cat. Rare Van Right. The toy collector of Seville. Those are the toys that I really like.
Um so that's kind of one of those reasons that I found it very hard to be productive in 2022 in terms of YouTube. They were it was really it was definitely a hard thing for sure. Like you guys would have known that too. I mean, I didn't like after my solo posting for 17th of May, I didn't post anything until literally like 4 weeks ago. And now, obviously. But that's just one of those signs that I had that I just couldn't be productive. I just didn't have the energy to want to post anything. And I feel like another factor that contributed to me not being productive on YouTube is the fact that I didn't even know what to post to begin with. I had all these ideas. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. The thing is, it's not that I didn't know what to post, it's that I had all these ideas, but I just didn't have the effort to put in the work to making those a reality. Like I have all these ideas in my head, like this is the video that I want to do, this is the linguistic content that I want to make. But then because of my lack of motivation and everything else, I just didn't do that. But I do hope to try and do as best as I can for 2023. Um although I say best as I can because 2023 is going to get super super chaotic, especially for me. Um but I do want to do anything I can. I do want to do anything I can to I do want to do anything that I can to get at least something out there for each month of 2023 and just do my best at it. Ask for help when I need it and things like that. That doesn't mean that I won't be posting anything for 2023. That's not true. I will be because I have performances and I usually post them not just for you guys to see, but also because for my memories. And but that's not all I want to do with this channel. It's more about I want to post something that I know people will like. Um and I want to post something I want to post more so people can watch more. The fact that honestly 150 subscribers to end the year is a great milestone, but it's definitely when I think about it, I feel like I maybe could have been further. I mean, this channel's been around for 5.5 years and I'm only at 150 subscribers. Like to think like that, it's very, very crazy. Like I didn't um and I feel like it has a lot to do with I just didn't produce enough content. I hadn't had the motivation to do those kinds of activities. Um and that's kind of like my end of year reflection this year is the fact that I haven't been productive and I have to find ways to allow myself to be more productive and get going because I can't let this affect me at all. Um and honestly I love doing these New Year's Eve streams, not necessarily because I mean it's New Year's Eve and New Year's is approaching. It has a bit to do with that, but it has a lot to do with when I do these recaps, it gives me a yearly reflection on what happened this year, what things went great, and what mistakes I made. And then how do I take those mistakes and apply them to the 2023 experience. And those are the kinds of reflections that I feel like I can make from doing streams like this is those kinds of things that I made. Like when I did the 2021 recap, I mean, I didn't talk about much in that recap to begin with, but I made a lot of mistakes in life in that recap. And for this year, I may have made a few. I mean, we all make mistakes every day. But it's about taking those mistakes and putting them into a new year perspective. What can I do with this to create a better life and a better future for myself in 2023? And those are the kind of the reflections that I make from doing these videos. So it's like when I do a yearly recap annually, um yes, I call it a recap, but the majority of the time it's a yearly reflection. I reflect on what happened. And then using that information, I can then decide how am I going to move forward in 2023. And honestly, there were good things that happened in 2022. I will say that. It's not all bad. Um I actually I think one good thing that I can talk about, well, there are many good things that I can talk about, but before I get to that though, I do want to say another reason why I do these streams on New Year's Eve is because it's my original YouTube channel's birthday. I started YouTube in December 31st, and I'm serious, New Year's Eve of 2016. Like, so December 31st, 2015. So this year is officially 7 years. And it's crazy to think about how much cringeworthy content I posted back then compared to what kind of evolution I have made now. It's crazy to think about the maturity that I was at 13 years old, starting a YouTube channel, posting electronic game videos to where I am now. That kind of gap is definitely crazy for sure. Um, but if we were to talk about the good things that happened in 2022, um, well, not much really happened in January. Um, around February, early February, I got the battery on my old MacBook serviced. Um, Now that MacBook had to be serviced because the battery was significantly degraded. But in addition to that, the battery underneath, like the trackpad, was swollen. It was there was a lot of swelling. Um, like the corners of the trackpad was, so if you ever seen like how a Mac trackpad is arranged, and also like the mouse thing with Windows too, is it's this kind of rectangular thing that lays flat on its frame. And the on a Mac, the left side of the trackpad kind of sticks. Oh wait,
Characters.
hold on.
Chat actions. The toy collector of Civil are the toys. The toy collector of Civil 821 subscribers. The toy collector of Civil 821 subscribers. Words. And at 821.
Oh, you're right, 821. Congratulations.
Chat Railed Van Riley 7.
But anyway, so if you've seen the trackpad on a Mac, the way it's normally arranged is it's flat. It's kind of flat in the frame. Um, like the left side, like the left corner of it, kind of sticks out. Um, so you can kind of see if you put your finger through it, like between the trackpad and the frame. If you put your finger through it, you can kind of like feel the corner. But other than that, it's flat, and that's how it should be. What ended up happening is the battery underneath. So, the battery below, it was swelling, and the swelling basically pushed whatever was above it up. So when the battery was swelling, it pushed the trackpad up, it pushed the keyboard up, it pushed pretty much the entire keyboard case up to a point where it was bent. Like the whole case and everything was bent out of shape. So it wasn't just being pushed. So the trackpad, the corner of the trackpad, it wasn't just being pushed up and the corners were sticking out. The entire framing where the battery is, the entire case was being bent from the battery moving up. And so, like right now, like this is actually my new Mac. I'll talk about that in a bit. But right now, this Mac is sitting flat. So if you were to close your computer, if you guys are watching on Macs, don't close your computers now. But if you were to close your computer, it should sit flat. It shouldn't be wobbling. But because the trackpad was pushing the case to a point where it was bending, it wasn't. Well, the first of all, the lid of the computer, like the screen, wouldn't close all the way, because of the trackpad sticking out. But then, if you were to put the computer on the table, like not just on its case, but like on the table, it would wobble. It wouldn't sit flat at all. And a swollen battery like that, it has to be taken care of because if it swells any further, that battery, the pressure in the gas can, the pressure, which is the air pressure inside the battery, can can pierce like the internal. Gosh darn it, my voice is not working today. Um, it can push like when the gas pressure builds up inside the battery. It's kind of like a balloon. If you were to blow up a balloon, you know that if you were to overblow it, the pressure kind of creates like a hole or an opening and the balloon pops, so you can't do anything with that balloon anymore. It's kind of like that. If the air pressure builds up enough, it creates this opening in the battery and the battery explodes. And if it explodes, it's very dangerous. And it can cause fires and things like that. And so we had to get it out like right away. And so we took the old MacBook in, got it serviced, and that was back in February. Um and then not much really happened in March. In April, our Scandinavian choir, our Calgary Scandinavian choir started for a brief period. We had a short 6-week season. Um, it was kinda like an experimental season, like, she wanted us to, just try it out, like, with masks and everything else, and see how it went. So, we did a 6-week period from, it was April 6th. Hold on. 6, 13, 27th. Yeah, it was April 6th to May 11th. And then we had our performance on the 17th. Because that 6-week season that we had, um, it was for 17th of May. We were gonna do a 17th of May, performance, during that time. And, um, we did the 6-week season starting in April, I mean, and my parents also went to Korea that month, so it was a month full of me having to spend time with my brother and just my brother, and at the time, my brother also had COVID, and so for the first 2 weeks, we actually had to quarantine ourselves, um, but, uh, during that time, we did have our 6-week season, um, and actually, the 17th of May performance that I went to, it was actually really fun. I have to say that I was very demotivated to perform there as well because I had some linguistic demotivations at the time, which also contributed to my mental health. Is the fact that I didn't have anyone to practice with. Um, I didn't have anyone to practice with, and so that was that honestly made things a lot difficult. And I just didn't have the motivation. But I don't really want to get into that because I feel like there's a lot of embarrassing things that happened during that time too. But the actual performance, the actual well, so the video that I posted on 17th of May wasn't actually in the concert. That was a solo that I made, recorded at home, and then I posted that on that day. And I made it because first of all, my Norwegian friends are 8 hours ahead of me, and second, I knew that I didn't have anyone to record me at the concert, and there wasn't anybody. Um, so I basically what I did was and also my solo didn't need a piano accompaniment, it was just an a cappella solo, and so it was easy to just record at home. So, that day, I didn't get the actual performance of my solo, even though I did perform it then. I just recorded the thing in my own home with the comfort of my computer, and then posted it to my channel. Um, and that was honestly the last video that I posted on my channel this year until the Christmas concert, which is very sad to think about. Like I didn't post in 7 months, basically. Um, but that was but like the performance in itself, when I did perform the solo, like in the concert, not in the home recording, but in the concert, I had a lot of um I had a lot I have to admit, it's one of those first times where I've ever had I mean, I've had performance anxiety, but not as bad as I did now. I remember standing there, I remember standing there, like, at this on the stage, and I could literally just feel my heart palpitating in that moment even before I began singing, and then when I finally did it, I was like, "Yeah, I finally did this." Um, but honestly, 17th of May I've done 17th of May performances for 2 years, like, since 2020, and every time I do those kinds of performances, it honestly it was actually my 17th of May performance of 2020, even though that was pretty bad. It wasn't perfect. It definitely it was nowhere near it. Even though I performed that day, or like even though it wasn't perfect, that um that performance back in 2020 actually drove me to do more in Norwegian, and that's how I got the title as Norwegian soloist and also as a volunteer soloist for the choir, because I'm often the one that steps up and says, "Oh, can I have a solo?" um in the choir. and I love it. I love what I do. And honestly, before starting to learn Norwegian, I used to hate singing. As a kid, I was always pushed on stage, and I really didn't like that. And so I wouldn't sing or have anything to do with music for a while. And then when I started learning Norwegian and I was learning all of these things, it just it just put a switch in me. Like I could it put a switch in me. I could feel myself just coming into coming to terms with, my singing voice. And a lot of it has to do with honestly, a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm singing in a language that I'm learning, and that's another good feeling for me too. And that's also one of the reasons why I love what I do. And it gives me motivation. It gives me part of the motivation to keep me learning a language like this, because I can put it to use somehow being in the choir and doing all these things. Um but yeah, that performance happened on 17th. That performance, the May performance, was actually pretty good. I really enjoyed my time there. It wasn't necessarily just the performance I enjoyed. I enjoyed the parade. We actually were originally going to do the parade outside, but it was actually raining that day, and so we ended up doing the parade inside. And so we walk around this gym holding flags, and we're singing Javieska. Well, we did Javieska before the parade, uh and then we did this other song called Gudsinne vårt dyra fäderland. God damn it, I can't speak. But we did that, and then we did uh this other thing that I can't remember, but I know it's somewhere in my program document if I were to look at it now, which I'm too lazy to. Um, and we're just like walking around this place, and then dinner at that place was really good. I really enjoyed it. And um at the end, like at the very end of the show, we had the folk dancers come up, and I got to dance with them, and that was very, very exciting to end off the night. I feel like my first appearance there at like an actual 17th of May thing that we do here at the Scandinavian Choir, um, that it was very exciting for me. I think it's gonna stick with me for the rest of my life. It's probably one of those memorable things that I don't think I'll ever forget. Um, let's just see.
Ronald Van Riley 7. The toy collector of Civilline 821 subscribe.
Around this time, when I was demotivated about Norwegian and stuff like that, I joined WhatsApp, but the only reason why I joined it was because offered partnerships. I was being offered a partnership to a person. Um, and so I had two new partners this year. And I actually, surprisingly enough, found the YouTube channel for one of them. If you guys want to see it, why don't you comment down below or post on the chat or anything like that, and I can put her channel link in the description, or I can put one of her video links in the description, because I found it actually like 2 days ago. her friend showed me a video, and I found the channel. That's kind of how I found the channel, and I found other content posted there. The only reason um oh, Sam is live? Okay. The only reason the only issue is the content is in Norwegian, and I don't know if anyone here will actually enjoy it, but if you want to see a small 60-second video that was posted there, I can definitely share it in the description or in the description. But I had two partnerships land that month. Um, Not much happened in June. July, well, the exciting thing in July was that I turned 20 this year. Yay, new decade. Um, I went from I went from going I went from being a teen to being in my 20s. And honestly, like maturity-wise, I don't feel 20 at all. I have to admit, but I think my 20th birthday was exciting. My parents actually bought me like this bouquet of flowers um in July to celebrate the fact that I'm 20. But it was really hot here. Like July and August were really hot months here, and the flowers, because of the heat and everything, they died in like 5 days. And I was so like I feel like for the first few days, my flower like the first few days when I had the flower bouquet, when I had the flower pot here, like in my room, it was actually pretty therapeutic and it smelled good and everything else. But then you do not want to smell a dead flower, or at least a dead or like a dying bouquet of flowers. Um, they do not smell that good at all. And I remember having to smell that all the time, and that honestly physically made me sick. But like I wasn't like sick. It was just a headache. It physically gave me a headache, and I was like, "No, like my flowers have already died. Just get them out of this room right now." um, but like if like honestly, like I love flowers. Flowers are great, but like you would never want to smell like a dying bouquet of flowers because they do not smell that great. And I had to like the stench was like everywhere in my room, and I remember being like just get it out, like get the bouquet out because um get the bouquet out because like I feel like I am going to die myself. But I liked having the flowers when they were there because the flower to symbolize the fact that I'm, turning into a new decade of age, going from being a teen to being in my 20s. So that was interesting. I'm probably not going to get anything like that anymore until 2032 when I turn 30. Um, also for my birthday, even though I got it very late, I got this ruby ring. And this actually isn't a real ruby. It's not a real ruby at all. But it's a kind of a it's kind of a counterfeit ruby, but it's not like completely counterfeit because they did make it out of metal where the color won't automatically go away if you have it in like water or soap or whatever. Um and like if it goes dark, like if it goes into bare met, like if the color changes to black or whatever, you can restore it with like toothpaste. You can restore its shininess with toothpaste. Um But the reason why I say ruby is because that's apparently my birthstone. And so that's why they got me this ring, even though it's not an actual ruby. But I love wearing this, and it hasn't left my hand since. Um, it hasn't left my hand since, and so beautiful thing. Not much happened in August. September is when I officially started my university journey and figuring out, what that's like. And also in September, I got this computer. And this computer, this is actually the first time I'm streaming with this computer, which is crazy. I've had this for 3 months and I should have streamed it when I got the computer. Like I should have tried it when I got this computer, but I just didn't bother to. But I got this computer, and the reason why I upgraded my computer was because my old computer, which is the computer that I had the battery serviced in, back in February, that was no longer being supported by updates. And I didn't know that was happening until like June. Um, Justin told me about it, and I thought like I would be able to use that computer. At the time I had it serviced, and even before then, I thought I would be able to use it for at least until 2023 because that's a MacBook Pro 2015. Even that's a recalled version of it, so it says 2017 on the back. Like if you look at the manufacturer date, it says 2017, but it's a 2015 Mac. And I thought I would be able to have it until at least next year. And so I thought, okay, let's just bother getting the battery serviced. But then 4 months after I got it serviced, I found out that a lot of that version was not being supported, but only because Apple was done with Intel computers. That version has an Intel processor, and um Intel's on Macs, they are not they are not great friends. I mean, they use so much energy from the battery. And so so I remember when I had that computer, I had to charge that computer twice a day. It's crazy. So I was putting in one charge cycle each day. If I'm draining it to 50 and charging it like that, I'm putting in one charge cycle a day. Whereas for this one, I'm only putting in half a charge cycle a day. But like I remember having to charge that twice a day, sometimes even more. That was very crazy for me. And to do a lot of those things, like to do Discord or to do something really intensive was really, really hard because the metal part would heat up. It would get really hot. The fans would start to kick in, and the battery voltage, the voltage of the battery, how much volt it was pushing out was also getting really, really high. And that honestly, to use that computer was a nightmare. I have to say it wasn't pleasant at all. And so it was very hard for me to take care of that computer. But I found out that because that one has an Intel computer, that wasn't gonna be supported. And so I had to find a way to upgrade the computer. And so we decided that around September or so, we were gonna use the scholarship money, so the money that I had put to a scholarship, the scholarship that I received. We were gonna use that to buy this computer, and that's what happened. And so I got this computer on September 19th. Or that's when I finally got it into my hands, is September 19th. And so far, I'm loving this computer. It's much more pleasant. Um, it's been 3 months, and, I have a battery application called Coconut Battery, which I can use that to monitor the battery health in real time. Or not real time, but, like, often. And, according to Coconut Battery, at 3 months, I'm at around 50, I think it's, like, 58 charge cycles. I could check it. And the battery capacity is still above 100%. It's not as high as it was 3 months ago, but it's still above 100, which is pretty interesting. That wasn't the case when I had that computer for 3 months, or that battery at least for 3 months. Um, it went from being 3% above 100 to below 100 in just 3 months. And very unpleasant situation, but this one, it's I've had it for 3 months, and it's still the health is still above 100%, which is amazing. This computer doesn't have a fan, surprisingly enough, but it doesn't need one because the Apple M2 is so energy efficient. Probably more efficient than the M1. Um, this one, it doesn't use that much energy at all, so this top part here doesn't get hot. Like, it gets maybe a bit like, a tiny, tiny bit warm, but other than that, no, it doesn't get hot. It doesn't get hot hot. It like, the temperature might increase a little bit, but not that much compared to the older to my old computer. Um, another because of that, the battery voltage doesn't go up as much either. The highest I've seen, according to the app, according to the Coconut Battery app, the highest voltage I've seen from this battery is um about 5 volts. I think maybe a bit higher than that, but 5 or 6 is the highest I've seen from this battery in particular. Um, about 5 or 6, and it doesn't get any higher than that. So it'll never go up to like 10 volts. It's always gonna be, or it if you're not using the computer, it's always gonna stay around. It's always gonna stay around maybe about 1 or 2 volts. If you're watching a video on Safari or using Discord, it could go up to about 3 or 4 volts, or I mean watts. God damn it, I keep saying volts. It's watts. Um, so it's gonna like let me rephrase that again. So like when you're just using the computer on standby, it's gonna be maybe at 1 or 2 watts. If you're watching a video on YouTube or um if you're watching a video on YouTube or doing something on Discord, it could go up to about 3 or 4 watts. And then in some extreme cases, it could go up to about 5, 6, maybe 7. But that's about as high as it gets. It doesn't get any higher than that.
Deploy collector of stability at 800. Chat. Gerald Van Riley 7.
Like, you know what? Let me check the battery statistics now.
Application. Notification. Safari Coconut Battery. Coconut Battery. 4,600 full charge capacity. 4,563 months.
So right now,
Design 4,676 months.
4,676
design capacity.
out of
4,563.
4,563, which gives me
102.5%.
102.5%. So it's still above 100%. And actually, if you look at the battery health screening on the system preferences, it still says 100%.
57.
It's at 57 charge cycles.
Good. Battery 24.0 degrees Celsius.
With it's at 24 degrees, so the battery temperature isn't that bad.
Discharge 8.02 watts.
Oh wow. It's discharging at 8.02 watts, but that has a lot to do with the fact that I'm live streaming on this computer. But
application notification Safari previous Coconut battery current.
Oh wait, what?
Just 8.02 watts. Application choose note Safari Coconut Safari Safari Gerald Van mod check deploy collector of stability limit 821 subscribers.
But this it's only at like 8 watts right now because I'm streaming. But that's still not as bad compared to like when I was streaming on the old computer. That would go up to maybe about 56, or that would go up to maybe about 60 watts, and that really, really is a lot. If it's discharging at 60 watts, yeah, you're gonna need to charge that quick. But I've been but with this computer, 8 watts, at least that's what I've seen now, is gonna be the highest that I will probably see. It's never gonna go to like 10 watts or anything like that. And that's the great thing about M2 is that M2, no matter what you're doing, it's not gonna use that much energy. Like like the top of this computer, it still feels a bit it feels maybe like room temperature, even though it's discharging at 8 watts. It's not hot at all. And, honestly, I'm so great that I have this Mac. I kind of I mean, at the same time, I still regret it because, at the same time, I still regret it because I could have still continued using that Mac, but honestly, that Mac was definitely less pleasant than this one, and I love using this one. Um, but I think with this Mac, it's gonna take maybe about 100 to 150 charge cycles to get the battery health below 100%. The fact that it's at 57 right now, like, it's gonna take in terms of not in terms of charge cycles, but, like, if I'm charging at the rate of once each day, so I'm putting, like, half a charge cycle each day, um, it would probably take about 6 months or more after having this computer like, 6 months of having used this computer or more to get the battery level below 100%. Like, to get the battery capacity below 100%. Um, and then it's gonna probably take me maybe it probably won't need a service until maybe about 5 years after I've had the Mac, which is great. The longer I can use this battery, the better, and the more cost effective it is too. Um, Not much really happened in October, November. November, I did have a friend come over in November, but November was for me. November is kind of like the anticipated time because I remember in November of 2021, I would wait all day, or not necessarily all day, but like all month each day to be able to perform my solos and stuff. That's kind of how it was this month. It wasn't, you know, as same as it was last month, but like that's kind of how my November was this month. Um like I would wait every day to be able to perform my solo. The worst part about November though is that I got sick. Well, okay, what happened was in November my a very well-known choir member of ours who I actually had a pretty good relationship with. Her name is her name is Bodil, but I call her Nana. She passed away in November 12th. Finally, fortunately, I got to visit her on the 9th. Actually, our entire choir did, in the hospital. And I got to visit her. I got to visit on the 9th. And then 3 days after we visited, she passed away. And so on the 24th, I had to attend her funeral, which honestly, I was not prepared for. And emotionally, I remember going into there and trying to focus on the church service and everything else, but then I just couldn't stop silently crying and shedding a tear every now and then, and that's totally fine. So I went, to the funeral, but what ended up happening was, the person that was supposed to be my handover person, when I was one of the people that was there at the funeral was sick, and so I was walking with her, and the next day I also had a hair appointment that day, but then the next day, I felt really, really sick. I had a runny nose, and so I was sick for the rest of November, and I didn't know, like, if I would be able to make it to the concert. Fortunately, I did recover enough for me to make it to the concert, and therefore, I have the videos that you guys see now. But then shortly after the day of the concert, I got sick again. Or not necessarily again. What ended up happening was I wasn't partially fully better. Like, I wasn't fully better. I was only partially recovered, and I just didn't take care of myself that well, and so the partially cured cold kinda just came back, and it morphed into this throat thing, so I had a sore throat, and I was coughing and everything else, and so I was sick for, like, another few weeks, and I didn't recover until midway through December. Um, this month, December, it was it was exciting. I actually did have a pretty interesting, Christmas. Um, well, yes. Uh, I actually, for Christmas, I actually got to try meatloaf for the first time, and, the gifts that I asked for some scented candles, because I love perfume candles. Uh, I love candles that smell. And, I also have this teddy bear that I got because I love stuffed animals, and then I also did some Christmas shopping for my nephews and my nephew and niece that are here. My third nephew's in Korea because that's where my cousin is. But my niece and nephew here, I didn't do much we didn't do much shopping for the baby, but I did buy something for my niece, and, that is basically 2022. But not much really exciting happened in 2022. I finished school on December well, I handed my last assignment in on December 12th, and then everything was done by December 14th. Next year is gonna get pretty hectic. Um, I will be doing a lot of independence training because I'm going to a school in another city, or at least I'm thinking of going there. To They have a Scandinavian studies course, and I want to take it, and like that's the only place here that they have it, and so in Canada also. So I'm hoping to study in another city and be there January 2024. I was thinking maybe I should go there in September, but I just don't think if I were to make that my goal, it just wouldn't give me enough time. And so I'll be going there probably in January of like not this January, upcoming January, but the January after that's January of 2024. But yeah. So other than that, I'm really surprised that I got to reach 150 subscribers on this channel by the end of this year. It's pretty crazy to think about it. A milestone at the end of this year. Could I reach 200 subscribers maybe by mid 2023? We'll see. We'll see how much content, good quality content I can get out.
The toy collector of Civil Unit 821. Chat. Rare Van moderator. Rare chat actions button.
But I will try to get as much as I can done for 2023 because I know how much I definitely want to get as much as I can done for 2023. Um Despite my busy schedule, I'll try. It doesn't necessarily mean like I'm going to be busy every single day. It's probably going to be busy like once a week. So I'll have a lot of time to just make videos and make content and you know, do the best I can.
The chat actions. Moderator. MP group. Application. Notification. Safari current.
I don't even know after what I've done in this stream. I don't even know if I have the energy to do another stream.
Chrome. Chrome. Live streaming. YouTube.
So I'm gonna end the stream here.
Middle dot. Heading level 2. Edit. Button. End stream. End stream button group.
I'm gonna end the stream here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will also post my annual Happy New Year once the time comes. Um, and if there's anybody else who's already in the new year, well, Happy New Year to you guys. And I'll see you guys in 2023.
Exit stream. Group. Heading level 1. End stream. Heading. Your stream. Not yet. Your stream will stop immediately and you will no longer be live. Not end. Button. Group. End stream. Button.